Hey guys, this your girl Miss Lavish. I'm bringing y'all today my seafood spaghetti. It is one of my most requested recipes. I'm gonna first give you guys the ingredients and then we're gonna get into the video.
Okay, tonight I am cooking shrimp and Italian sausage. It's kind of like a seafood spaghetti, I guess, if you want to name it something. I don't know what you call it, but these are the ingredients that I have: squash and zucchini. This is just a way for me to put some vegetables in my family's food. Italian sausage, ground beef. I have some peeled shrimp that's deveined. If y'all already see, they already deveined, peeled, that I did. I have an onion I'm about to cut up, one onion, bell pepper, and I have some string onion here, some Italian blend, and I have some of my seasons, which is garlic powder, onion powder, red pepper, Tony's Saturate, black pepper, adobe, salt, and then I just grabbed these three actual sauces. You can get whatever sauce is your favorite. Me normally I do Classico, but they didn't have it on sale, so hey, this is what we're rolling with. And then these are my thin spaghetti noodles. So y'all come with me. Me and the bae cooking tonight. He gonna record for me. So
Okay guys, as y'all see in the video, I am boiling some water. I have about a tablespoon of salt in the water boiling. I'm getting ready to open my noodles and drop my noodles in the boiling water. Because they take the longest to cook, I always go ahead and get them started. I just break them in half. They spilling all over the place, but I just break them in half and drop them in the water. Boom, just like that. And those are thin spaghetti. And I'll take another pack, break it, drop it in the pan. I don't know if you have a large family. I have a large family, so I have to do a couple of boxes. But if it's just you, you can improvise. You can do one box instead of two. And again, I'm going to open up a third box because it's a lot of us. And I'm going to break those open and drop them in the pan as well. And I'm going to let them boil. Get all my noodles out of that box. And then let them boil and stir them and continuously check on them until they done. Okay, y'all, now that we have our noodles boiling, come with me. I'm chopping up my string onions. I'm cutting them about 1 inch wide and prepping them to go into my ground beef. After I cut these string onions up, I'm going to grab my bell pepper. As you see, I'm kind of gutting it out, making sure there's no seeds and none of the inside in there. I just want the out, not no inside. So I'm slicing those bell peppers. And what I'm going to do is slice them first. Then I'm going to come back, gather them, and cut them into small 1 inch chunks as well. Because these are going to go into our spaghetti ground beef as well as a saute, and it adds really really great flavors. So let's go ahead and as y'all see, I'm slicing it again and then just continuously cutting them in chunks, and that's one whole bell pepper. Now I'm going to take this onion and I'm gonna cut a couple of slices in it. Y'all see how I went through it, and I'm gonna gather it up and I'm gonna cut that the same way in chunks so it can go square chunks, so it can go into my spaghetti as well. Been boiling while I've been chopping up my bell pepper and onions and so forth. They are about done, so I'm going to take them off the stove and strain them and run them under some cold water because I don't want them to continue to cook because they're perfect. So if I wanted them to continue to cook, what I would do is do the opposite. I will run them under hot water and let them continue to cook. But these noodles are cooked perfect. I'm gonna run them under this water, separate them a little bit because they clumped up a little, and set them aside while we come back over to our ground beef. Okay, now we're going to unwrap this ground beef, and I'm gonna drop it in the pan. Boom. I'm gonna search for me a spatula because I should have had it ready, but since it's my first cooking video, y'all bear with me. And what I'm gonna do is break up this ground beef. I have some thyme and some Italian seasoning in that little cup. I found me something small, little measuring cup, because I don't measure when I cook, but I'm doing this for you guys. I have some adobe, Goya adobe, and I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of that in this ground beef. Then I'm going to add some garlic pepper, which is what I have in my hand now. It's a real good flavor. I added 2 tablespoons of that as well. I kept this real basic. I like to cook to taste. If you're a beginner cooker, you probably don't. I mess around with seasonings. That's the fun. I'm trying to pull out some onion powder here. And I put about 2 tablespoons of onion powder in there as well. And I'm going to just chop that up and add that into that ground beef. I have a pinch of black pepper because we already added that garlic pepper, and I added a pinch of that in there. Now I am adding some garlic powder, about 2 tablespoons of garlic powder in the meat as well, and just chopping it up and stirring it in while it fries. Then I'm going to take all those vegetables we cut up earlier, the onions, bell peppers, and the string onions, and add that to my meat, because what it's going to do is while that meat is cooking, it's going to saute, in that grease. Just give it a really, really good flavor. Just chop, 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 chop until it, I get everything stirred and chopped up in my ground beef, as you see here. I'm just going to keep stirring. And what I'm going to do is now let all of that cook and brown this meat. Now the meat is browned, you guys. It is ready to be strained in my strainer. So what I'm going to do is get ready to take this meat off and turn my heat down and strain all that grease off of this meat. And you don't have to use ground beef if you don't eat ground beef. You could always use turkey meat for this. Look at him. He's so silly, y'all. Everybody in the kitchen, while I cook, my family loves to eat. That's the heart of my house, is my kitchen, y'all. Everybody, we gather around and we laugh and we talk about each other's day in the kitchen, and you see him get all the juice, get everything off that spoon. My husband, I don't know if he married me for my looks on my cooking. I always joke with him. But I'm going to take this off the stove, and I'm going to strain that in my strainer. Ooh, that smells so good. That looks so good. And just get all the juices off. Then I'm going to let that set aside, and I'm going to take my hot Italian sausages, and I'm going to place that in. What is he doing? I don't know what this man doing. We're going to take that and place that in the pan, and it is hot Italian sausages. And I'm going to chop that up and bring my shrimp over, because I'm going to cook these 2 things together, because the Italian sausage don't take that long, and it's not a really big pack of meat, and plus it's got good juices, and that way I don't have to add anything to my shrimp. So what I'm going to do is let that cook a little bit. You see me chopping it up, and then I'm going to drop my shrimp into this. Just like this, gather it all up, drop it in there. These shrimps are cleaned and deveined already and peeled, so that's part of your prep. You'll prep and do that. Now y'all see I browned the meat, and I got those shrimp nice and pink. I'm going to get a closer view for you guys. You see the red pepper on it? This is making me hungry all over again. Okay, guys, now it's time for us to add our sauce to a pot. So what I'm doing here is just adding my Prego sauce that I showed you earlier. That's 3 jars that I've already added. And I'm going to add my 4th jar into this. And Tyrone's keeping us abreast. I put a little water so I can get everything out of my jars. So I'm just coming back, shaking up what was left with a little bit of water and getting everything out of those jars, as you see here. And I'm adding some fire roast diced tomatoes. I forgot to tell y'all that, so forgive me, but I'm adding some fire roast diced tomatoes. But I did put it in the beginning. Now we're going to put our meat in here and put that in the sauce. Scrape all of that out because I set it aside and let it strain. I'm going to stir that in like you see. Stir it in really good. Now we're going to scoop that Italian sausage and those shrimps. And you want to let your sauce cook a little bit before you put this in here, because you don't want your shrimp to cook too long, because they become rubbery if you let them cook too long. So now you see me kind of tossing that into that sauce. I let my sauce cook before I added that Italian sausage at the end. Oh, that looks so good. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to add this zucchini and this squash. It's a really good way to get vegetables to your family. They hardly even know that it's in there, but I added, that's my very last thing I add, so they're not squishy. They have a crunch to them. Well, guys, we are done. Let's let Mr. Hall taste and see if he likes and what he thinks.
You know what I'm talking about, baby? Yeah. Now it's time for you to show me what it's hitting for. Sip a little Jack, maybe blow a little. Show me what it's hitting for.
Yes,
Sip a
that is
little Jack,
delicious.
maybe blow a little draw. Love you from behind, but I hate to see you go. Come on, give me that green light.
Said that it's good, so it's a winner. Y'all gotta cook it.
Like I always say, have a lover's day.